Good morning and welcome. How's this for some hot topics for us to talk about this week? The chair of the Gaming Commission on the hot seat, the Democratic race for governor heating up, and the leading GOP candidate for governor feeling the heat. How do you like that? All of that is on the table this morning as we chat with expert political reporter and analyst from the Boston Globe, Jim O'Sullivan. Jim, welcome.
John, thanks for having me.
Great to have you here as always. Now, when Governor Patrick appointed Steve Crosby chairman of the State Gaming Commission in December 2011, Crosby's political experience and understanding of all the potential pitfalls and appearances of conflict were cited as major reasons for choosing him. Right. Well, now, after a string of incidents has raised doubt about exactly that kind of judgment, the Globe editorial board and at least 5 of the gubernatorial candidates are calling for him to step down. What do you make of this? Do you think he will step down? And if not, what happens next?
Well, I think he stepped into a fairly volatile situation. Gambling and casinos have roiled Beacon Hill for years now, and that's one of the reasons that the governor was sort of balked at proposing it in the first place, is because, as he said, it tends to suck up all the oxygen in the room. Well, Crosby made that worse, obviously, by going to the Kentucky Derby party at Suffolk Downs, which is really sort of a cosmetic misstep. But as we go forward here, the problem, I think, for the state and the casinos in general is that it raises doubts about sort of the integrity of the process.
Well, as far as political impact, I guess it all hinges on whether the Supreme Judicial Court allows the casino repeal question to go ahead and be on the ballot this fall. If it does, this whole mess could certainly fuel the voter reaction to that.
Oh, certainly. And this could go on. You know, the problem with Crosby recusing himself from the Greater Boston site is that you're now left with a commission that has 4 people.
Right.
What do you do if that commission splits its vote? So that they're supposedly going to come out with a process for that and a plan for that, but that has the potential to drag this thing out even further, I think.
Well, you know, if you've ever been to one of the casinos, they have these fancy embossed coins that you can use for to barter with. And
I prefer the loaded dice.
You could flip one of the coins. Oh, you think just roll the dice? If it comes up 7, it's
sure.
It's Riviera, 11, it's Everett. All right, well, we'll see how they work that out. Speaking of that appointment, Governor Patrick's made some good appointments during his time as governor. Rich Davey, the Secretary of Transportation, comes immediately to mind, and there are others, no question about it. But he's also chosen quite a few turkeys. In fact, there were several transportation secretaries who flamed out before Davey got in there. At Health and Human Services, DPH, is there a pattern there?
Well, I don't know if there's a pattern in his personnel selections. I think to go a little bit more broadly, the governor has always distinguished himself as a campaigner and as someone who can connect with people. Where the problems have cropped up in his administration have been with management. And some of that speaks to personnel. If you look at what he's got going on now, not just Crosby at the Gambling Commission, but also the Department of Children and Families seems to be a story that never ends. You talk about the Health Care Connector website that has cost the state millions of dollars, and now we're going to we've had a lot of trouble implementing the Federal Affordable Care Act. So the governor's weak spots have been, throughout his administration, have been in management and sort of the nitty-gritty of governing the details. What
do we learn from that? Does it have to do with the fact that he had no political experience before he won the governorship? Does it speak more broadly to the lack of desire of talented people to come work for government?
Well, I can tell you what I think he'd say about that, and that's that he's tried to push state government harder than his predecessors. And when you try to push harder for more change, more problems are going to crop up. He hasn't just put it on autopilot, although some argue recently that he has. But they've really pushed to effectuate change. And when that occurs, you can have pushback. And some of that pushback has come in the forms of some of these management woes.
All right, Jim, take a breath, and when we come back, we'll talk more with Jim O'Sullivan of the Boston Globe as we shift our focus to the race for governor. So please stay with us.